Good afternoon on what is a grey, overcast and chilly day. I'm back in the reading nook with Cat, who is not ours, and of course a nice hot cup of tea. Oh. And something interesting to unbox. And this time it's this. This is the Castles Crusades, a guide and rule system for fantasy roleplay, the collector's edition, published by Troll Lord Games. This was done in the style of the original Dungeons and Dragons box set. So I'll move the cat out of the way just so I can unbox it. And inside, what you have is, and I'm not going to be able to spill these because these are in a bag. You've got dice. Plain, simple dice. I'm going to check this. Okay, and 3 little booklets. And these dice have no numbers, so instead you've got a crayon which you apply to the surface of your die to fill it in. You know, basically. So if you have a look at your classic D20, there's that. That's let me see. That's a 10. You've got 10 there. And you've just got to mark it with the blue crayon, and that's what you used to have to do back in the day, before you had the advent of inked dice. Now, what else have we got in here? This is actually this is numbered, so it's there we go. It's a special collector's edition of the game Castles Crusades, which is one of the early sort of like retro clones, and it combined elements of sort of like, it actually comes with sort of like a proper kind of resolution system for doing things other than combat, and your special abilities which you had by class. You know, you're rolling under your stats, as I recall. It's been a while since I've looked at it because I've been playing other retro clones, but it's still very popular. So we have 3 books in here. So we've got the Player's Handbook and the Monsters and Treasures book, okay, and the Rising Knight. So let's have a look at these. And then of course you've got a bit of a flyer in there as well. And below that, just to see what else I've got in here, is what's this? That's my invoice from Leisure Games. From, let's have a look to see. This is from November. This is from November 5th, 2004, when this cost me £19.99. I hate to think how much I would have to pay for it to find a copy of this now. So this is over 20 years old. But inside, let's just have a look at these books. So, plain and simple inside, to say it is signed in there, and we have the first opening page, and it's basically got the introduction, and it's discussing. We've got the introduction of it's a role-playing game, how to create a character, the attributes, and so on. So strength, constitution, dexterity, intelligence, wisdom that you would expect. 1 table of attribute modifiers. So clear and simple. You have basically the idea. You've also got what primary and secondary attribute, so on, and how to generate them, and the classes and it goes into classes. So we have the cleric, and the fighter, and the rogue, and the wizard. So 4 standard classes. Let's see what else we've got in here. And we've got the character races. So the races, essentially, it is a class and race role-playing game. So dwarf and elf, halfling, and that's it really. You basically choose a sort of like your persona and your alignment. You've got the complete list of alignments here as well. Then you get into things like equipment and then magic with a full list of spells and explanations. So it's really kept very plain and simple, easy to read. So you've got a list of all the wizard spells, and then we get into the castle and its keep, and that's really how it's how the game's played, and sort of like with the attribute checks is where you're rolling under the attributes. Sorry, there's the cleric spells as well. Complete list there for the game, and an explanation. So, for example, your 0 level cleric spell, your orisons, detect chaos, evil, or good, reveals the chosen aspect in creatures, spells, objects within 50 foot for 10 minutes per level. And essentially, that's it. You know, it's the explanations are kept to an absolute minimum. What else have we got? Explanation of the attribute checks and saving throws. And the types of saving throw, and then we get to combat itself. So important feature, of course, and okay, and essentially this is an ascending armor class, but otherwise it's really no different to other retro clones. Of its type, and really, you know, that kind of play has existed for a long time in the hobby, right back to obviously Dungeons and Dragons, but more recently, the 20 years or so of the of the old school Renaissance, and even got Guide to Damage and Unarmed Combat, and of course I'm going to be interrupted by the ice cream van. So what else have we got in here? Then we got Monsters and Treasures, book 2. But I'm going to keep at it even when he's twinkling away. Full list of monsters in here. Not everything necessary to play and run. And just check to see how. Oh, also on the back, I'm going to say we've actually got a list of the various modules and books available at the time. So again, this is 2004. There's been a lot since. So basically this is designed. It's even though it's a collected edition, almost akin to the basic Dungeons and Dragons, sort of like also the Dungeons and Dragons box set. It does go up to level 10, not level 3. So volume 2 is the list of monsters and treasures, and here are the explanations. So you've got the what they do is they give you the full stats here, and then the explanations over the page. So here we've got basic backgrounds for the gibbering mouther and the goblin and so on. Not heavily illustrated, but you know, not that it necessarily needs to. Here we've got the Minotaur. I mean, it's mostly spot art rather than great big pieces. This is, let me get the treasure section. And that covers, you know, magical treasure, armour and weapons. Of course, magical swords are always a big feature of D&D. So there's always the idea that one of the things of Dungeons and Dragons and Castles Crusades is swords could be magical and have identities and so on. A hangover from, so basically a crossover from Dungeons and Dragons, and you know, you don't often get intelligent flails or bohemian ear spoons and so on. But you know, you can do. Nothing will stop you doing that. And then basically, again, that list of things that are available. And then below that, all right. Sorry, he's being very insistent about I fuss him. Yeah. All right. Okay. I have to get back to speaking in a minute. So put your paw. Yeah. So calm down. So, ow. See what he's like? Insistent. If he's not getting enough attention. So this is The Rising Knight, which is book 3. And this is an adventure for 4 to 8 characters of first and second level. And Here we've got the background, and passes of import for the adventure. So what's the adventure about? Let's find out. Got a bit of background. Essentially, I'm not going to read all that because it's but so you've got a bit of background and then details about the location itself, such as the river valley, and the ruins of Cuthbert Ondal and Fallow Hills, and then the Temple of Balionnacht, and the dungeon complex. And basically should have a map of the description of level 1, level 2, and level 3. So here we've actually got the maps, and I have to say that those are perhaps they're not very interesting maps in themselves. I'm sure the actual content is fine, but the maps themselves are not particularly interesting, and there's no area map as well. I think that's a bit disappointing, but nevertheless, you get a complete box set. You know, rules, monsters, treasures, and adventure, all in the one box. Very nice little box that is. I believe they did another couple. I've got one other, a black box, but I will have a look at that at some point in the future. But this is the Castles Crusades, a guide to and rule system for fantasy role playing collector's edition, published in 2004. In the meantime, well, thank you very much for watching another unboxing in the Nook. If you have enjoyed this, then please do click that like button down below. And if you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me out here with a box or game which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, and a cat who is not ours, who is settled down. Yes, you have. Then please do hit that subscribe button. Thanks again for watching, and we'll be back again soon with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.